interesting. Okay, so I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself so that you know who you are going to be dealing with for this semester. My name is Lynda Nakalawa. I am a clinical psychologist by training in Makerere University, but I'll answer more or less the same questions that you have answered when you were introducing yourselves. I decided to do community psychology. It's a rather personal story. I decided to do community psychology because as a teenager, I suffered from severe depression. How it started was because my parents separated when I was really, really young, and I took it upon myself. I sort of internalized this pain and this I thought there was something wrong with me, that's why my parents had separated. I know it sounds like a cliche, but that was my reality. For the longest time, I felt like I was not a good enough person. And everything that would happen to me, I would say, you see, I'm just not good enough. I'm not useful. I am not clever enough. I am not beautiful enough. If I was, my dad wouldn't have left. It's a long story. As I speak, my parents, by the way, are back together. Glory to God. But that's the background. So it all came when I was in S4. I was in Gayaza High School. And when I did my S4, the depression had already started to set in, and I did not perform as well as I expected. See? And in not performing as well as I expected, again, that idea that I am not good enough became stronger and stronger. Although when people look at my marks in S4, they're like, but these marks were good. But as long as I didn't make it back to Gayaza High School, just like that, and not having to wait or anything, I felt I am not good enough. So my sister sent, she was not living in Uganda at that time. She gets in touch with my mom and says, for me, I like Linda's marks. Go ahead and find her another school. I will pay. So my mom was very excited. I am her youngest child. I'm her last born, and she has always wanted to give me the best education. So even the schools that I went to, it's not that she could afford them, but she was always willing to make every sacrifice. But there are certain things that would happen in school, and they would inculcate that idea more and more that I am not as good as my schoolmates, not as good as my classmates. So I find myself in the best school that money could buy for HSC. My mom chose to take me to Kaboja, the international school. It had two curriculums. It had the Ugandan system and then the international curriculum. I was doing the local Ugandan system. But when I say that the depression became really, really serious at that point, I started to hear a voice that would tell me to fast and to pray. Not that there's anything wrong with fasting and praying, but I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was doing it because I was trying to be good enough for God, imagine. In my heart, I did not believe the idea that anyone could love me unconditionally, because I thought that if my father could not love me unconditionally, there is no way anyone could love me unconditionally. So I thought, even with God, I have to buy myself. I have to buy myself so that God could love me. So I was always fasting. Since I'm nene, I might not be the fattest person, but I was really, really skinny. I remember this one time I was on a 3-day fast, no food, no water, and we were doing, so that is 3 days, 3 nights, and we were doing exams. So you can imagine. And the more I fasted, the more I prayed, the stronger this voice in my head became. And I conveniently named that voice God. I thought it was God who was telling me to do all these things. And things became really, really critical when God, in inverted commas, told me to leave school and go and preach on the street. Okay. To be very clear, I know that it was not God telling me that, it was the depression and these voices in my head, this voice particularly in my head that was telling me to do that. And I remember the day that I first had that voice, I was doing exams. So I was doing, the combination that I was doing was history, economics, geography, and French. I was in a history exam. I had done just 2 numbers, and then this voice comes, full-time ministry. I don't know what you're even doing in class. You get out, you're supposed to be on the street preaching. And I tried to resist this voice so much, but it was so strong. Today, I'm a clinical psychologist, and my clients, they talk about a voice that they cannot say no to. I have some experience with that kind of voice, because this voice was so insistent and telling me there is no reason why you should be in school. You're supposed to go on the street and preach. And I fought it and managed to do 2 numbers of the history exam. But finally, I walked out and I went. There's a place I always used to go and pray, but I wasn't really praying. I was just crying, you know. And so I was really, really scared. I remember going home that holiday and telling my mom that God wants me to go into full-time ministry. And this is where parents really have to be wise and have to be aware of mental health issues. So she told me, hey, okay, if that is what God wants, I have no problem. But you see, God also knows that I am your mother. Okay. So if he wants you to go into full-time ministry, I think he will also tell me. Clever African woman that she is, that is all she said about it. And that was S5 second term. And when third term started, she didn't say anything about me not going back to school. She just prepared me for school and sent me back to school, you know. And so how did I experience depression? Apart from the voice that always used to make me do all sorts of strange things that if somebody saw, they would call strange. That is how I would have ended up in a hospital, but I didn't, because maybe I was very good at hiding my fear and my pain. Apart from the fasting and not eating and being very, very skinny, I was also really, really sickly. I was always in the sick bay and really sick. I would have a high temperature. I would be throwing up. Everyone who gets flu, I would always get flu. My immunity was so bad. But whenever they would take me home and they would do all the tests, they wouldn't find anything. Nothing. I'm sure they tested me for everything. Pregnancy, nothing. I did not have a single parasite in my body. Okay. And that is a lot of times, that's how depression acts out. I had headaches all the time. My back would pain, my stomach would pain, everything, you know. But to cut the long story short, I was able to walk free of depression. At that time, I had a friend who is my mentor up to today. And he told me, okay, so I'm a Christian and he was a Christian, and he helped me understand that I did not need to be good enough for God, and helped me understand that the voice that I was hearing was not God. And this person literally held my hand and helped me to walk that journey out of the valley of depression. And that is how I managed to pass. I did not excel, but I passed when I did my senior 6 exams. And they were enough to get me to the university on private anyway. And this person who then became my mentor told me, there is this course at Makerere called community psychology. The kind of person that you are, you will enjoy this course. So I came to Makerere, I applied for community psychology, I got in on private. Why is it important for me to say that? I want to pass the message that it doesn't matter how you got here. The point is you got here. Okay, so I came to Makerere, I got into the community psychology course, and for me, it was love at first sight. It made so much sense. I fell in love with the course. I was determined to make my life better, and I could tell that the course was teaching me things that could make my life better. I loved community psychology so much so that, and it was out of that love, you know, that made me work be willing to work hard. It's not that it was a walk in the park, that it was so simple, but because I was determined to do well on this course, I sat in front of the class. Whenever I sit behind, I'm a very talkative person. I think you can tell. Whenever I sit behind, I will play, I will disturb my neighbors, etc. So I sat in front because it's how I could control my very playful nature. And yeah, when the course ended, I had a first class degree. That is how I end up teaching on the community psychology program. And then right after my community psychology program, I came back to do a master's in clinical psychology. And as I was doing clinical psychology, I understood even better about what I had gone through. But to understand the whole idea of what had happened to me and why was actually a bit recently, just recently in 2017. That's when I was able to map why I had become depressed and how I ended up, you know. So this story that I am telling you, the details of it, I've written a book about it. It's called This Happy Butterfly, the tale of a depressed teenage African girl. And this book is on Amazon. You can actually look it up and find it. So yeah, I was saying I did clinical psychology. It's one of the toughest courses I have ever done in life, but it was also very interesting. And I had the drive to put in the work that was necessary. Okay. After clinical psychology, I did another master's degree in public mental health. So community psychology and clinical psychology were in my career. Then public mental health was at Stellenbosch University in South Africa. But I have always known that I want to be a psychologist. I've done all my degrees in psychology. And at the end of last year, I had the opportunity to do my PhD research. And to do my PhD research, I have done my PhD again in psychology, and it was specifically about youth mindsets in the context of empowerment. To tell you a little bit about that, sometimes we wonder, even the government of Uganda wonders that why is it that we give young people money? Why is it that some young people get all the opportunities, but somehow they end up, you know, either being worse off than before they got those opportunities, or their lives are not changed at all. And that is one of the things that I wanted to explore, not from the maybe the economic side, but from the psychological end of it. And so my research focused on youth mindsets, and very specifically, I know that there are very many theories of mindset out there, but I looked at a social cultural theory of mindsets. I was looking at mindsets from the social cultural point of view. And if you'd like to hear more about my research, I'm going to be presenting about it over and over and over again. But as you can tell, when I talk about social culture, I am a very proud African. I am so proud to be African. I am a very firm believer in the brilliance, in the intelligence of Africans, and especially African youth. I want to tell you guys that when I say I believe in you, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And I believe that we are the people that can do things to change our situation. How? For example, you guys are doing community psychology. I challenge you to take this community psychology from the books, okay, from the theories that are sometimes foreign, and find out, what does this mean to us as Africans? What does it translate to in our Ugandan society? I challenge you to set out to be the kind of community psychologists that will influence your community. Let your degree not only work for you, let your presence be felt. How is my presence felt, for example? one, with the PhD that I did, I know, and it's already working for myself, for my family, for my community. Yeah, I have been able to work with some young people to help them understand why do they think the way that they do. And these are presentations I make every day. Has the course worked for me? Certainly. I am one psychologist who says, I never lack fuel. I'm able to pay my rent. I'm able to pay my bills. I make money as a psychologist. I teach in Makerere University, and my salary, yes, we are always trying to get a better salary, but it is better than some people because we put in the effort, okay? But I also have a private consultancy. It's called Akili Mental Health and Coaching Consultants. What we do, so I'm a co-director. We are two founding directors. So what we do is counseling, psychotherapy, and coaching, but we also do mentorship. We also do research. We also do program development for schools, for organizations. I have consulted for so many organizations, both Ugandan and international, for the Ministry of Education, for the Ministry of Health, for many international organizations, all coming out of the psychology degree that I did. You know, if you decide to go the distance with psychology, you can actually make the money. You're never ever going to lack for money, but you have to be willing to do what it takes to find your way. Please don't do this just because everybody does a degree. And if that's what has been happening, it's fine. It's never too late to change your direction. Okay, start looking at this as I can make a difference. The reason I keep getting clients, actually, 2 days ago, I was in an Uber and someone asked me, "You're a psychologist?" I talk about mental health and psychology everywhere. So the person who was the Uber asked me, "How do you get clients?" And I said, interestingly, it has been by word of mouth. One satisfied client tells another and another, and they just keep coming. Why? Because I found something in society where I can make a difference and people are willing to pay me for that. Okay, so yeah, those are the places where I get, I'm able to pay my bills, I'm able to develop myself as a person, I'm able to have a good life. I kept telling people my life is a party, okay, because I'm able to meet my needs through my career. That doesn't mean that I am all career. I also really, really like art. I do art work to relax. I'm very good with my fingers. So yeah, sometimes people think that once you're a lecturer, that is all your life is about. No, I have a life outside Makerere University. What do I do to change my community? Oh, this is something I really, really like to, I think it's been 2 years now, or 1.5 years. I was, by the grace of God, appointed as one of the representatives of the Buganda. So I'm a Muganda, right? And I was appointed. I did not campaign. I was not elected. I was appointed by Sabasajja Kabaka of Buganda to be one of the representatives of youth in the Great Luchiko. The Great Luchiko is the parliament of Buganda. So there are circles where they call me Ms.Lynda Nakalawa, and I'm still getting used to it. Sometimes I'm like, they say Ms.Lynda, and I'm like, who's that? But it's so much fun. And why is it fun? It's because it gives me an opportunity to put the psychology that I have studied, the psychology that I have discovered, our African psychology, into practice and to make a difference in my community, in my tribe. Because guys, no matter how much help we get from donors, at the end of the day, the African situation is only going to be changed by Africans. Okay? the Ugandan situation is only going to be changed by Ugandans. It's about me and you. I could talk till the cows come home, literally, about what we can do as psychologists. But for now, I just wanted you to hear my story. I am 3 years ago, I think I was European just because I was Black and I happened to be living in Uganda. I had not yet appreciated the beauty of being African. But today, I really, really appreciate it. And you'll hear it from the way that I teach and even the courseworks that I'll give you and all the discussions. I'll keep coming back to what does that mean for us as Ugandans? What does that mean for us as Africans? What does it mean for you in your tribe, in your family? Yes, a lot of the theories that we shall study were brought to us from the West, but it is up to us to make, to make this make sense for us. I've walked this journey. I invite you to walk this journey with me. It can be so much fun. It is extremely satisfying. It can be done. And I invite you to do it with me. Yeah, so that is it about me. If we have any comments, questions about what I have just shared, I am more than happy to respond to them. Otherwise, I just, Jonathan Mukisa, you're asking how old are you, Owechitiibwa? Do you really want me to tell you my age? Because I don't want you to lose the plot. But I'm one of those women that is not afraid to say my age. I am 39 years old. Next year, I will be 40. And society asks us many questions, but one of the questions that I am very happy to answer honestly is I am happy with the journey that I have walked. And I'll say this in Luganda, katandika butandisi, it is just starting. So if at my age, I say it is just starting, how about for you? Are you able to appreciate the opportunities that are laid out before you? When I say opportunities, I don't mean that there are no challenges. There are challenges left, right, and center, but you can place something in front of you that is going to help you keep getting up again every day to face those challenges. Oh, thank you for sharing your story. Me, I like you, Owechitiibwa. Thank you. Pauline says, Owechitiibwa, you look like 25. Thank you. That might be a political statement, but thank you. Lillian says, nice and inspiring story. I see a role model. I am happy to be a role model. I am happy to be a mentor, but I'm the kind of mentor who will never run after you. Okay? I will answer the questions that you bring to me, but I don't run after people. But I always, always, always respond. Even in class, I'm not afraid to say that I don't know, because I mean, who knows everything? But for what I don't know, I will always do my best to find you an answer. Someone needs me to mentor them, reach out, and it's a journey I'm happy to walk with you. Okay, guys? So for those that have not attended this class and you're listening to this recording, please do your best to be in class, because there are things that you might miss, okay? Because you're not in class. Mary Achan says, your story is so relatable. Thanks for not giving up. I am so happy to meet you. Thank you, Mary, for being here. And I'm hoping that if I share my story of walking through the valley of depression, and look what the Lord has done, look what it has turned into, you know, someone else will take the courage to keep walking. I don't know what battles you guys fight every day, but I hope you will find the courage to keep fighting them, knowing you can make something of yourself. And also for being proud of it. Yes, I am very proud. I am very proud of who I am today. But please don't say that you want to be like me, because you have no idea about the battles I have had to fight to be the person that I am today. Fight your own battles, but win them, and keep getting up and keep coming back. Thank you, Deborah. I see you will be a great one. And with someone somersaulting, I take it this is going to be a fun class. Please promise me that you will be in class. Okay. And yeah, let's walk this journey. I know the course unit is conflict resolution, right? But it should be a journey of self-discovery, and it should be a good one. Okay, I think this is a good time to at least stop recording, and then yeah, my should I say my last word to you is keep getting up again. All right, keep getting up again, keep doing what you need to do, and always remember the only people that are going to change our situation is us. There's a statement in Luganda, anatuyamba tajja kuva bunaayira. The person that will save us is not going to come from overseas. We have to save ourselves, and God will help us. As Africans, we are very religious people. I have no problem with saying that. Okay, so let me stop recording, and